proper 12 whiskey story. You know, a few people know it, but this was actually my idea. I was the person that came up with the idea to do a whiskey for Conor.
And not wanting to relitigate everything that happened between you two, but it is sad to see. I think a lot of your fans and his fans would say that. Could you tell us, where do things stand between you and Conor?
Yeah, unfortunately, obviously things are not good between me and Conor. You know, as you said, we always had each other's back. You know, I feel I showed him unmatched loyalty. You know, I would dare for him to name anyone from all of his mates now, before, whenever, who was more loyal to him than I was. You know, and failed. You know, and unfortunately, yes, I did get fucked over on this deal. Even though Conor shook my hand and promised me 5% no matter what. But I guarantee you, I can't wait to be in court and show that Conor was actually proper fucked on this deal. You know, and this is why I have to go to court. I cannot leave this like this. You know, this is too big of a story to just let it die out in obscurity. I need to shine light on this and show who was a true and loyal friend and who was actually a snake. Yeah, I feel that if this was Conor of before, you know, the guy that I know, you know, we wouldn't have fallen out, you know, and now it's completely different Conor. I don't recognize him. Take it to the press conference with the sore toe. That's not the same Conor. This is not the guy that I know. I want to see the old one back, you know what I mean? And then I feel everything would be sweet between us as well, you know, and we could get, you know, the band back together.
My first reaction is no. Hell to the no. Artem Lobov, you can F off. What? Hi guys, it's Mr. TDC here. First things first, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification button and engage in the comment section. And let's just get right into this whole story with the GOAT, the greatest fighter in the history of MMA. The original GOAT, and the one and only GOAT, actually, the true GOAT in MMA. Artem Lobov. If you guys don't know who Artem Lobov is, please go back and just go to Google. I don't have the energy to start to explain the history of Artem Lobov. But let's just say this. Artem Lobov, over the last 10 years, has played very, very, very significant roles in the drama that is the fight game. He used to be a former UFC fighter, and he was very good friends with Conor McGregor. And I mean, so good. For those of you who know, Artem was such good friends with Conor McGregor that when Khabib's team cornered him in a hotel lobby and tried to bully him, when Conor saw that clip of Khabib trying to bully Artem, Conor got on a plane from Ireland with a ton of goons, came to the US and tried to disrupt a UFC event that Khabib was fighting at. That was the event where Conor threw a dolly through a bus window that injured Rose Namajunas, Ray Borg, Michael Chiesa, amongst other people. Khabib was in that bus, and Artem Lobov was in the crowd with Conor. For those of you who remember, if you notice when that dolly hit the bus, you should look at Artem's face when that dolly hit the bus. It was at that moment he knew he had effed up. Now, following that incident, we went on to have the biggest fight in UFC history, Conor versus Khabib. When afterwards, Conor loses that fight, but Conor goes into a business venture now known around the world as Proper 12 Whiskey, amongst other business ventures that he's gone into. Somewhere along the line, out of nowhere, Artem Lobov, who's supposed to be Conor's closest friend, Conor's brother, comes out and starts to make claims that he was the person who had the original idea of Proper 12 Whiskey, and that he gave that idea to Conor, and Conor was supposed to include him, give him some equity in the business, and I think it was 5% equity, I'm not sure, right? He said he did the research, he did the market research for the business and presented it to Conor, but Conor went ahead to set up the business and did not include him. This now forced a fracture between the friendship between Artem and Conor, and Artem Lobov went on to sue Conor McGregor to get a claim in the business, and he lost. And ever since then, there's been no word from either camp about any reunification or any rekindling of the friendship. The friendship died effectively. Now, even after not being affiliated with Conor, Artem Lobov goes on to have a couple more BKFC fights and he's okay. And then he goes into retirement a few years ago. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, Artem Lobov returns to the limelight and says, hey, guess what? Artem Lobov has a fight. And he has a fight with PFL, I believe, in October against a former teammate of Khabib who was in the group that accosted him at the hotel before UFC 229. Now, I don't know what to make of this. When I heard the news that Artem was coming back, I'm like, okay, that's strange. But then, retired fighters always come back. Sometimes they just want the limelight. But then, I hear today, I watched the Hariel Alwani show, and I hear Artem Lobov talking about he wants to come back into the good graces, paraphrasing here, but essentially saying he wants to come back into the good graces of Conor McGregor. Then I put two and two together and I'm like, Artem Lobov is broke. Allegedly. That's the only way that makes sense. That's the only reason why he's going to come out of retirement at this point in time for a PFL fight, not even a UFC fight. And then he's also now making interviews. He's saying in interviews that he wants to be friends back with Conor. Hell no. Conor, do not let that man 12 miles from you. I mean, keep Artem Lobov far away. And the reason is this. I do not F with people who are not loyal. Loyalty is the number one thing in any friendship and any business venture, in fact, in any relationship. Loyalty. And Artem Lobov played himself. Artem Lobov was not loyal to Conor McGregor. He just wasn't. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what Artem says, right? Because at the end of the day, he lost that lawsuit. If he had won the lawsuit, my conversation on this issue would be different. But he lost. So for all intents and purposes, he had nothing to do with Proper 12. But you know how much he might have gained if he didn't make those claims against Conor? What he would have gained from being in the same room with Conor, being around Conor over the last couple of years? Just imagine that. There is a reason Dylan Dennis continues to suck hard on Conor. Because it keeps him in Conor's orbit. And at the end of the day, Conor moves the needle. Whether you like him or not, Conor's antics move the needle. And Artem Lobov played himself when he removed himself from that circle and now wants to come back a couple of years later. And it's crazy to me that he wants to come back because, listen, The Conor McGregor brand right now, at the time of this recording, is not a brand that most people want to be associated with. There's a lot of legal issues with that brand and the person. There's a lot of disdain with his brand and who he is and how the fans perceive him. Conor is one of the most polarizing figures right now in the fight game. In fact, in any industry. He's one of the most polarizing celebrities in the world, right? And then he has, again, the civil, SA cases and things of that nature, the punching of random people. He doesn't want to come back to fighting. He's lost fights, talks all sorts of crap. That's the person you want to be affiliated with right now? Because you're broke? Because that's the only way. It's because Artem Lobov is broke. I don't care what anybody thinks outside of this. And no matter how broke he is, I still think Conor McGregor should never let him in his circle. There's a very popular saying, right? When someone comes to tell you a story about your enemies and says, hey, this is what XYZ said about you, the question you should ask is, why should XYZ be so comfortable saying that about me in your presence? Get it? So, it's a no for me. I think it was miserable and pathetic, Artem's attempt to try to win back Conor's good graces. And Conor, listen, I'm not a big Conor fan right now, but I can tell you on this one, I'm taking Conor's side 1 billion% when Conor decides to cut him off and keep him locked out. Put Artem in a cage, lock the cage, throw it into the sea, and throw the key in the opposite direction. Never have any affiliation with Artem Lobov. I wish Artem the best in his career resurgence, but that's about it. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think Conor should give Artem another chance? Or should he tell him to F off? Mr. TDC out. Peace.